Hi, this is Rich from WorkshopAddict.com, and this is the first tutorial for the people on the forum for Sketchup 2013. We're going to try to get everybody up to speed on using Sketchup that desires to do so. I realize drawing in 3D can be frustrating, but once you understand the fundamentals, there will become a time that the light comes on and you go, oh, I get it now. I've been drawing in 2D with AutoCAD for 25 years, maybe a little longer, and drawing in 3D has always been a challenge. I've just never done it. I tried to use SketchUp a couple years ago and threw up my hands. And, I just didn't get it, and then I watched some videos earlier this year, and the light came on for me, and it was like, oh, I get it, and I've learned what the pitfalls are, and it's a piece of cake. I'm capable of drawing at this point. First of all, let me say I am no expert by any means, but this is I'm drawing my house in as-built drawings. Just started working on this a couple weeks ago. Let's go in, and I'm going to turn layers on, which you're not going to see this because it's on my second monitor, but let's shut a few things off just so you can see what the capabilities of this are. Let's shut off shingles, and we'll shut off the roof sheeting. And how about let's do siding and the wall foam. Oops, I've got that set as my current layer. Let me change that. Now let's shut off the wall foam and wall sheeting, and you can see we've got a framed house here. Shut off that one window that I've drawn in there, the skylight. We can zoom around, and I can go inside this house and take a look around and pan up and down and so on and so forth. Let's shut off the framing and the truss, and I should have a layer for floor sheeting and structure. Got a little bit of drywall on there. Started working on drywall on one room. I got bored. Here I've got my foundation. So anyhow, that's what SketchUp is capable of in just a few months as a new user, and you can be doing the same thing. So let's start a new drawing. One of the first things that you want to do is set the environment. And under Window and Preferences, we have Templates. There's quite a few things under here, but let's take a look at Templates. Pick Product Design and Woodworking in inches. That doesn't mean that you can't draw steel. It just sets the type of environment for this size of project, basically, and in inches. If you're somewhere that uses metric for measurement, you probably want to pick millimeters, but we're going to do this project in inches. If you were doing a plat layout for a neighborhood with streets and stuff like that, you would probably want to use something different, but for most projects this will work great. Go back to Window again, pick Model Info. One of the things that's important here, we can set our units: architectural, decimal, engineering, fractional. That's just the type of units it's going to use. We're going to pick fractional. We want to set the precision as low as possible, not as high as possible. If you're building something that you only need to measure in quarter-inch increments, like framing of a house, you would probably want to do that. There's no reason that you want to snap every 64th of an inch. It'll make it a whole lot easier if you set your precision to the maximum resolution you need for that for that project. We're going to pick 1/8 inch for this particular project and enable link snapping, and that should be good. One of the things that I want to mention is you really need a mouse that has a scroll wheel on it. That scroll wheel clicks in the center, acts as a third mouse button, and is very important in navigating around Sketchup. I have a notebook that I find impossible to do Sketchup on without the mouse, and I can do AutoCAD on it fine, but Sketchup is a no. So I would highly recommend you get a mouse with a scroll wheel in the center, and that works as a third button. And the reason is, I'll show you here. Let's say we were going to draw a line. I click on the pencil tool up here, which is line, and I start down here, and I had to go up and click to something. Let's say there was something up here in the right hand corner that I wanted to connect that line to. The only way to do that at this point, if I didn't have this mouse, would be to go either zoom out or click the pan tool and pan. See how I'm dragging? I'm just panning along, which really isn't any different than sliding a sheet of paper across the table. And then I could go back to my pencil tool and continue and click. I'll hit the space bar to release that tool and go back and look, and I've got my line drawn. Let's delete that. By using the mouse, I start my line. The center mouse or center scroll wheel allows me to scroll out or scroll in. So I can scroll out to where I need to click, or I can click down with it, turns it to the orbit tool. That's what that little symbol is. That's the orbit tool, and I'll show you more about that in a minute. Or if I click down and hold the shift key, it allows me to pan, and I can drag. Notice my line is never letting off. It allows me to do this while I'm in the middle of the line, and I can click and finished, scroll back, and I'm good to go. That mouse is extremely important. So if you're going to do SketchUp, I think you need to make sure you've got a mouse that's got a clickable scroll wheel in the center. When you open your drawing, you'll notice there's 3 axes. You've got a blue axis, a green, and a red. Matter of fact, I'll start a pencil here and show you. Let's click here. It will tell us that when we are pulling along that axis. See, it says on blue axis, on green axis, on red axis. Let's draw a rectangle on the bottom. Let's pretend we're drawing a room. This is the floor of your room. Notice I'm going to use my orbit tool. I can look at the bottom of that. I can look at the top. I can scroll around. Let's back up a little bit here. Move on around using that orbit tool. So this is the floor of our room. You can, let's say this is the corner where a wall would be going up here, and this piece down here is the floor. Let's take our pencil tool here. You know, there's a, if you take a look under the actual menus, here's the keystroke command. Everything has a keystroke command for the most part. And you'll learn that when you want to push or pull something, you just want to hit P. If you're going to move it, M. I mean, it's a whole lot easier than going to the menu. So I want to show you why you need to stick to these axes. So we're going to click here. Let's say I wanted to draw a line. You know, if I went up the blue axis, that'd be going perfectly vertical off the floor, up the wall in the corner. If I went back here on this green axis, I'd be going along where the baseboard is. But if I wanted to draw halfway in between, you know, a 45, kind of going up the wall, I just click that. I'm I'm going to hit the space bar and release here. Let's zoom around or orbit around and take a look. You'll notice that that didn't go where we thought it was going. It actually went approximately 45 degrees. I didn't measure it, so I have no way of knowing, but generally 45 degrees out that direction. So let's highlight that, hit the delete key and get rid of it. You can also do the same, by the way, if we drew something here. This is an eraser. Click the eraser, get rid of it that way. So you need to learn when you're drawing something to stay on that axis. You can tell when you're drawing, we'll draw a line across this red axis. And see, we're going up the blue axis. And then when we're coming back here, notice when I get off it, it's just a line. Let's go ahead and click that, and you'll notice that, see, that line didn't go where you were thinking it was going to go. So you need to, let's go back to our pencil. You need to stay on that axis. Watch that and make sure that it goes back, see, and it clicked on the blue axis, and we go down, and this is going to complete a box. We can delete that box. Until it's grouped, you either need to drag a window around it and hit delete, or if you click on it, let's back up and click the center and hit delete, it just took out the middle because it's not a group yet, so it's doing the fill as well as all four of the sides. Okay, the main thing we want to do in this tutorial is get everybody kind of navigating around, and we're going to start our bookcase, and we're just going to make a 48-inch tall by 24-inch wide bookcase, and get it where people can navigate around, because navigation is key in SketchUp. So we're going to go down here, and we're going to build this out of 3/4 lumber, and so we want to make a 3/4 inch thick by 12-inch board, and we're going to pull it to 48 inches tall, which will be a secondary step. So we go up and click our rectangle tool. We start here at this point. We're going to go back on this green axis. Now the thing you want to notice is down here on the bottom right is a box that shows your dimensions. Notice that right now it shows 7 1/4 by 67 3/8. I mean, we're not going to go that big. We're zoomed out a lot further than we need to be. But the thing that you want to pay attention to is the aspect ratio of that. So I can tell I've got a skinny long box here, that the skinny number, which is going to be my 3/4, I hope this makes sense, is my first number. And sometimes you just need to look at that to see which direction it's going. Draw something that's got a aspect ratio that's thin and long, so you can see which direction it's going. You just get it going the direction you want. That's all you got to do. Just pull it out in the direction you want. Let loose of the mouse, and we want this to be 3/4 by 12. I have an option. I can either type in 0.75. We put a comma in between, and then 12, and hit enter. And let's zoom in here and take a look. We now have a box that is 3/4 by 12. Let me delete that, show you that you can also do it in fractional. So we'll go up here this direction. As you can see on the bottom, it says 1 3/4 by 13. That's our actual value. So the first number, we want to type in 3/4, comma, 12. So you can do the same thing in fractions. Hit the space bar to release the tool. The first thing that you want to do in SketchUp with every component or every entity you create is either turn it into a component or turn it into a group. They both kind of do the same thing. The only difference is if you create a component and make copies of it, insert that component or copy it throughout your drawing. Anytime you edit one component, it edits all the other ones, which sometimes you need to do. If, say for instance, you were creating a knob and you wanted to place this knob on 6 drawers, and you wanted to change the knob, you could make edits to one knob and it would automatically update it on all 6 drawers. Well, that doesn't work in all cases, so sometimes you just want to make it a group. The reason you need to make everything a group or a component is, if you don't, as I showed you earlier, we have separate entities. We've got our fill and we've got our bottom line, top line, side left, side right. When you touch something to that, like you create another box and pull off to it, they have a tendency to stick together. You need to treat everything like it's material that you pulled off the shelf and you're working with it. So if you double click this, notice how it's highlighted, it's got dots in it. I'll click off so you can see it again. Double click. If you right click on that, make group, it's now a group. So when I click it and I move it, it's moving the whole thing as a group. We're not just pulling that one line. You always have to make a component or a group out of something, or you're going to have problems. Okay, so we just got a box here. It's just plain. It's perfectly flat. Doesn't really look like a board. You know, it's 2D. The thing we want to do is we want to double click that. Notice that means this box around there means we are now editing our group. I'll click out of it and you'll see that box will go away. But if you double click that, that means we're editing, you know, that particular group. I'm going to hit P, which is the same as, I'll go ahead and click the tool up here, which is push or pull. We can either pull it up. We're pulling our rectangle into a board, you know, 3D now, or we can push it down. Either one. You just get it going the direction you want. You don't have to worry about that actual distance. Just get it going the direction you want. And in our case, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to type, wow, I guess I said we were going to go 48. Type in 48, hit enter. Now let's back up. And we've got a, we'll go click out here. We've got a board. I'm holding down the center mouse button, and which is actually the scroll wheel, and I'm panning around. I can zoom in with it. We can take a look at the top. We can take a look at the bottom. By the way, while we're here, you can, once we go into that edit mode that we talked about by double clicking, we can use that pull on anything. See, I can make it longer. I could add, we were 48 inches. If I typed 2 here, pulled it the direction I wanted, we just added 2. We now have a board that's 12 inches deep by 50 inches tall. I'm going to undo that and drop back down to 48. Same thing on the front. I can pull the front, I can pull the back. You can pull any side you want, get it to go the direction you want. Just get it going the way you want, and type in the number that you want to pull it, and it'll go there. We do the same thing on the side. 3/4 inch thick. Pull if we wanted to pull it. Notice we could pull that thing out thicker. That also works for, just to show you, once we're in the edit mode, let's edit this. Let me draw a line, since we're in the edit of this group, from this corner up to this corner, and then I'm going to click the push-pull tool. Notice how I pushed that away and deleted that corner. That's how that works. So push-pull works for a lot of different things. It's a very common and important tool in Sketchup. The let's say one of the things that I want to show you guys is the tape measure tool, which you'll use a lot. We'll get it zoomed out. Here, let me show you how the zoom works, by the way. We've got 3 different zoom functions up here, or 4 if you consider the previous command one. This first zoom, if you click down and you move up this direction, it zooms in. If you pull it back this direction, it zooms out. This next one here zooms a window. If we click a box and we drag it, it'll zoom in to that corner. The next one is zoom extents, which takes it clear out. Whatever is in your model, that will take you out to see the extents of your model. This previous one backs up. You can click it several times and it will show all your different zooms. I don't really use that a lot. I find once I have the third mouse button, I don't really use any of these. Okay, back to the tape measure tool, which is T. You'll notice you get a little picture of a tape measure. You can also go up to the toolbar and grab that. If you go down here and click on this corner and come up to the top, notice under the tape measure it says 48 inches. It also says it in the box on the bottom right. This is very important. You'll use that a lot. But the thing that's even more important is let's go look at the side of this board. If we take our tape measure tool and we go down here and we click on this bottom and we start to drag up, notice how it drags a line. It's pulling a guide up the side of that panel. And if I type 12, I now have a guide that's 12 inches off that bottom. And I can click on this guide and start dragging up again and type in 0.75, and now I have 2 guides that are 3/4 of an inch apart. The guides are great to snap when you're using your line tool. Snap there. Also for moving stuff along a guide. You'll find all different kinds of uses for them. When you're done and you don't need the guide, if you go up to edit, delete guides, they'll just disappear. But they're basically just a drawing aid to help you. But the nice thing is, I'll show you how this works. Let's move in here, and I'm going to double click this. So we got dotted lines around it. You can see we're in the edit mode of this group, and I'm going to click the line tool, and I'm going to go out to this corner. It gives you a little indication, intersection, outside, active, and I'm going to go back here and click, and then I'm going to click the line tool again. And I'm going to click on this intersection, and I'm going to come back here and click on that. Now I'm going to click my push-pull tool on this section, and I'm going to push that back 1/4 inch. We just created a 1/4 inch by 3/4 inch dado. Let's say we want to come up. We'll go back to our tape measure tool. Just hit T or get it from the toolbar. I'm going to start down here. Notice this was giving us an indication of where the midpoint is, which we really don't need that, but just so you know, we're going to come down on this line, and we're going to come up here, and let's say we want 16 inches. And then we're going to use the tape again, and we're going to come up 3/4 of an inch off that. Now we got another set of guides. Let's do the same thing. Pencil from here to here, and from here to here, and let's push that back by hitting the P. 1/4 inch. So now we've got another dado 1/4 inch deep. Let's come up here to the top and tape measure. Let's pull a guide down 0.75. Draw a pencil from there to there. And we're going to push this. Oops, I'm out of edit mode. I need to get back in edit mode. 0.25. When I said edit mode, I meant edit of this particular group. So now we've got a side to our bookcase here. Pretty simple. We really don't need these guides anymore, so let's come up to edit, delete guides. Guides are gone. So now we've got a side, but instead of drawing the other side, we just want to duplicate it. So we're going to select it by one click. Don't do a double click or you'll be in edit mode again. And I'm going to click M for move, which is the same as this toolbar item up here. So we'll hit M for move and we're going to go click on this. Now this is where you need to be careful. You need to make sure that we're moving it along a plane. You know, this is the blue axis, this is the green, and this is the red. In our case, we want to move along the red, but the move also works as a copy if you hit the control key. If I hit the control key, notice I'm now making a copy of it. If I hit it again, we're back to move, hit control again, it's a toggle on and off. So we're going to move across this red axis. Say we want to come across here, 24 inches. We just type 24 and we've made another copy of that 24 inches across. You'll notice that the only problem we have is our dados are on the outside. If you right click on that, there's an option that says flip along red group, or groups red, groups green, groups blue. I have a tough time with that. Depending, I may be twisted around looking at it from the back. It's really not a big deal to try one. That one happened to work. I'm flipping it along the red. But if you can get the wrong one, all you got to do is do an undo and then try another one. And there's just times when you get twisted around and upside down looking at something and you really don't flip it, you know, along the right plane. So now we have two sides. Notice I'm easily holding down my mouse. I've got the orbit tool. I can go around and look at the back. And there's the front, the top. Next thing we want to do, we need to make some shelves for this thing. There's several ways to do this. Matter of fact, there's several ways to do this bookcase. This probably isn't how everybody would design a bookcase, but the main purpose of this lesson is to learn to navigate around Sketchup so we can really work on things. So if we go in here and we're going to draw a shelf, and we click back here. See, I'm going to zoom in. We want to go to this corner. That's where it's going to start. And we want it to go up here to the front. Notice it was doing some funky stuff there. Once you get on the right plane, it will snap into the right shape you want. So I'm going to click down, and notice we have a plane. The first thing we want to do, I click the space bar to release that. Double click. Make it a group. That thing will stick to other things if we don't make it a group. So we're going to double click it to put it in the edit mode. We're going to pull it and just type in 0.75. We now have a 0.75 3/4 inch shelf here on the top. Now let's make a copy of that, And to do that, we highlight it, we click M for move, and the thing that you want to make sure you do, unless you know exactly how far you're going with it, is you need to start by selecting a end point, and you'll see why here in a minute, that you can use to line it up with the spot you're going. So I click there on the end point, which means I'm holding it by that very corner. Let's zoom out. Oh, and I want to hit the control keys because we want to make a copy of it and not move it. And I want to come down here, and I want that corner that I'm holding it by. I don't want to snap it to here. That'd be in the wrong spot. This would be in the wrong spot. But if I come back here and I snap, that thing dropped in exactly where it's supposed to be. Let's do the same thing here. I'm going to make a copy of that. Sometimes you have to zoom in depending on your drawing. You know, back here it's hard to tell which corner you're catching, so with that scroll wheel you can just zoom in. Notice I grabbed it by the corner on that one instead of the place I told you originally, which will work out fine. But you just need to make sure wherever you grab it, you'll be able to locate it in the next piece. So now we have a shelf. I mean, got a couple shelves here. Not a very attractive bookcase, but I can hold down my shift and use my center scroll button and pan back and forth. The scroll button itself, I can orbit around it. I can orbit up and down. Look at the bottom. Let's take a look at the top. Let's put a back on this thing. Go up here top corner. Go down to the bottom right. Make sure we got the shape the way we want it. Notice we can see the shelves through it. It's a very thin plane. We need to double click it. Right click, make group. Now double click it, put it in edit mode. Pull it. Let's just make it 1/4 inch. Now we have a 1/4 inch panel on the back of our bookcase. You know, we could get fancy from here. Say we wanted to add a material to it, which I'm really don't need to show you guys on this since we're navigating around, but we'll go ahead and do it. We've got a lot of different materials in here. Say we pick cherry, we can click here, this board, this board, this board, this board, this board, and say we want to use something different on the back. So let's close our materials. We've now got a little bookcase here. So we can zoom out and take a look at it. There's from the front and from the side. This is more of a navigation lesson than anything else, and we'll discuss this in the forums and plan on moving on to the next step. And like I said, we're not going to leave anybody behind. We'll get everybody up to speed. It's a simple program to use. It's just really tough to grasp the concept, and once you understand that you're drawing something in 2D and you pull it into a 3D shape and how you can move it along these planes, then you'll realize you can draw things quickly and easily.